Hey, look, somebody asked me a question. I better answer it. Hey, it's Aaron from AaronOnAutos.com. I got one more question to answer. This time, it is from William Vaughn. Kind of a cool name. Sounds like he should be writing novels or something. Anyway, William wants to know, with the proposed hike in registration fees for electric vehicles in Illinois, which would be $1,000 per year, is this unfair and will it slow the sales of electric cars in the Chicago area? So, first off, the legislation that was proposed is very unlikely to pass. It was done more as a publicity stunt to showcase a larger problem. And it wasn't, I don't think the authors expect it to go anywhere. I think they've expected this to get shot down, but it does illustrate some points. And the point is that the average car owner in Illinois specifically, but we can broaden this and say, in general, this is probably true of most of the country, just the numbers will change. But in the percentages, so if you just take the value percentages of these differences, you'll see what the beef is. And so taking the average car owner in Illinois, they pay around $432 in taxes every year for their vehicle. That's Title I registration, which averages about $196. And with the average Illinois driver puts 12,600 miles on their car. At 20 mile per gallon, at a 20 mile per gallon average, which is honestly that's fairly liberal there. That's given a lot of leeway. But at a 20 mile per gallon average, that's another $236 in taxes paid. Right now, an electric vehicle owner pays $18 per year. That's it. $18 a year, period. Okay? There are some taxes on the electricity, but those are pretty minuscule in comparison. And honestly, because of the variances, they're very hard to calculate. But still, in straight up taxes for vehicle use, so the electricity can be used for a lot of stuff. Fuel is almost entirely just used, fuel from the gas station is almost entirely just used for a vehicle. So putting that together, an EV owner is only paying $18 a year. Worse, as far as average Joe goes, that's a protected thing. They're considered protected and the cost is fixed, can't be changed. Okay? So think about that. If you're an average everyday person, you don't know squat all about electric cars, you just know that a few people drive them and those people seem to be rich. Now you find out that they pay almost nothing in taxes for that car, even got rebates when they bought the car. And you, driving around in your crapmobile, right? You got a 10-year-old BS car that you can barely afford as it is. You definitely can't afford to go out and buy something better. You're looking at that guy or that lady and you're saying, right? You're mad because that is really unfair. That's what this is trying to illustrate. So what the people behind this are really trying to do is illustrate this point, this difference. Demographically, EV buyers are wealthier. Okay? They tend to have more money. Then they get all those tax breaks. Like I said, that's not fair. Also, if we work out other factors. So statistics have shown in several studies, some done in Michigan, some done all over the place, the more efficient a vehicle, the more mileage that tends to be put on that vehicle per year. So one of them off the top of my head that I remember reading was done in California, and it was looking at Toyota Prius owners versus standard everyday drivers, everyday vehicle owners. And what it found was that those Prius owners who were getting an average of 40 something, I think it was 48, 47 miles per gallon, they were also putting about 30% more mileage on their car than the average Californian, which means that they are driving more and paying less as a result, or as part of that. The Reasons for that are many. Probably the biggest one is financial. If your car can go further on less fuel, you think less about driving more. That's just how we operate. We're humans, right? So that means that statistically, the more efficient the car, the more it gets driven, which means that by those statistics, an EV driver is paying even less for the roads than the average person because they're using them more. So the solutions, there's a lot of them, a lot of ideas. Some of them I just don't like right up front. I don't like the idea of tracking mileage. I don't like the idea of plugging something in, having to have an RFID tag, any of that kind of stuff. That seems a little onerous. That's not for me, right? So that would not be a solution that I would advocate. A solution that I have often enjoyed, that I really like, that I like to think that I made up, but I don't know because I can't remember. I've been thinking about and proposing this for a long time. That solution is you simply tax tires. Every vehicle uses tires. Tires are sold not only by the vehicle itself, right? But they're also sold by weight class. Okay, that's an important point. And they wear out at different rates according to that weight class and according to usage. So the more you use the tire, or the more damaging the tire is to the roadway, the more often it's going to be swapped out. There are a lot of reasons for that. But, we can go into all the different tire dynamics, softer tires for off-roading, wear out faster, blah, blah, blah. We can go into all that, but it doesn't matter. What matters is the salient point that tires are universal. Till we have flying cars, tires are universal. And tires are vehicle specific. So a big rig uses very different tires than a 1-ton truck, which uses very different tires than a full-size sedan, which uses very different tires than a tiny, tiny microcar. Okay? So knowing that, we can now set tax rates based on the vehicle's expected wear on the road. Boom! So not only have you just counted miles, because more miles equals more often, more tire changes, right? You got to change the tires more often if you put more miles on it. You have also taken care of the different vehicle classes, cost the roads differently. Right now, that's sort of equivalized. It's sort of balanced out by the fact that heavier vehicles also use more fuel. So it's the same idea. Then, the next thing you have to do, this means that the tires, there's no tracking, there's no tax forms that you may or may not be honest on. There's none of that stuff. You go to the shop, you buy the tires, you pay tax because you bought the tires. Boom, done, right? It would seem like it would be very expensive. And it would be, because we're trying to make up for somewhere around $230 to $250 in Illinois specifically in taxes gained through fuel tax. I just got political, and I know that's going to mean commentary, but still, that's my proposal. So that's what I think would work. There are other options. There's lots of them. Go Google it. There's tons of ideas out there. Mine may not be the perfect one, but it's better than most that I've seen, in my opinion. If you have one that you think is better, point to it down there. So go down to those comments down there, right? Go down to those comments, type it out, give me a link. I don't care, whatever. If you have a question of your own, if you have something you want to know, I am an automotive journalist with vast experience in the overall automotive market. I've driven most every vehicle being produced, and it's outside of a few supercars, things like that. I have experience with all the major automotive brands. I have a background that also includes commercial vehicles and electric vehicles. So if you need to know something, if you want to know stuff about what's going on with hydrogen fuel cells, you want to know what's going on with whatever, I don't care. If you have a question, you can ask it. Either leave a comment down here, look me up on aarononautos.com, send me a contact through there, email me, whatever. Or, I don't know, look me up on Quora. I get a lot of questions through Quora, any of that. So if you got questions, if I can, I'll answer them. All right. This has been Aaron from AaronOnAutos.com. Talk to you again soon.